Peter Cadges of the Boston Phoenix, by the way, not you, Peter. Cosmo Macero of O'Neill Associates,
not me.
A man who's lucky he wasn't treated like a Pittsburgh Pirates fan at opening day. What's the story?
I just hope they let me back into the joint because I want to go back to the game, maybe even tonight. You know, I'm at opening day, kind of where I belong with my fellow proletariat in the standing area in the pavilion, and I got a little closer to the beautiful people. I took this nice picture of Cameron Diaz. Now, I'm standing where I'm standing. She's there, and I get a little too close. Now, you can tell I was never a Herald photographer. I was a reporter, but if you're a paparazzi, you're supposed to say, "Hey, Cameron, nice hat." You know, how about a smile? So all I got was this kind of crappy profile, and then I was kind of robustly urged to move along.
Well, what happened?
They said, "Sir, that's why you can't stand there. For that very reason, stop taking pictures."
Who was moving you?
An usher, I presume.
A well-trained, polite security lady. Needless to say, in about 3 minutes flat, I went from upper deck, first base, to behind home plate in about 3 minutes flat.
If that Pirates security guard used excessive force, what's the opposite of excessive? Because the security guard at Fenway used unexcessive force with you. There should have been a tasing in a billy club, and then Cameron Diaz should have taken out her guns and beat on you a little bit.
Well, she was none the wiser because I was such an ineffective photographer. As far as the security guard, I think she was. I kind of made a scene.
But in the interest of trying to understand a stalker, why were you taking her picture?
Because that's what you do. There's Cameron Diaz. You got an iPhone, you take a picture. Sure enough, the Herald came along.
What with it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Sure enough, the Herald came along and took an actual picture and ran it the next day's Inside Track. So that's what you do.
I'm beginning to think you two guys are trying out auditioning for the Charlie Sheen tour or something.
We'll get to that in a second. I had nothing to do with it, and I would not have been there and done that. But I guess good work, Cosmo, for almost getting thrown out.
One time I saw Stephen King on crutches. I took a picture. That's what you do. You see a guy, you take a picture.
Remind me not to go through a slideshow at your house the next time I'm not invited there. Let's get on to more serious matters other than Cosmo's should have been clubbing. Let's talk about the corner office binders. First, the guy that used to occupy that, Peter. Yesterday, Mitt Romney, he's not running for president, but he's launched an exploratory committee.
You think so, huh? Listen, leave it to Mitt Romney to be the best funded, best organized, most endorsed, challenged candidate. I mean, if you talk to the powers that be in the Republican Party, Mitt has no chance of winning the nomination. How they arrive at that, by the way, is beyond me. But Mitt is considered within the party circles to be the underdog, despite his clear advantage in organization and stuff. I think one reason for that is the Romney camp itself concedes that of the three important first primaries, they don't expect to do well in Iowa and South Carolina. So that means a lot will rest on New Hampshire.
And the other problem is he did this yesterday, conveniently enough, on the 5th anniversary of Romney Care, Cosmo, which is going to be the albatross around his neck for the rest of his days.
It's an issue that's going to nag at him. Look, he's been spending a lot of time raising money and helping other candidates win. This is the process for which he can now raise money for his own campaign. I think in some ways, Peter's certainly right. He's an underdog within the party, but he's still an important candidate here that has many advantages. The ability to raise money, the profile, the fact that he's been through a campaign and sort of knows what to expect. He's putting a lot of eggs in New Hampshire in that basket. I think he has to. And I wouldn't expect any less at this point from him.
If he walked by right now, would you take a cell phone picture of him?
Without question.
Let's talk about Deval Patrick then, who's also making news this week, Peter, because his book is out. A, have you read it yet? B, what have you learned in hearing about it?
I have not read it yet, although I will. And I haven't learned it. The newspaper coverage of the book hasn't told me anything I already didn't know. The coverage isn't so much about the book. It's about what he didn't put in the book. I mean, a lot of this, especially the stuff in the Herald, seems to be a series of zings aimed at the governor, which is, all fair game in politics. But I haven't seen very much intelligent written about the book.
I think lack of revelations which we already would have known by now in coverage of any other book, is probably a bad sign for sales. I think the biggest revelation I've seen in the coverage, I also haven't read the book yet, is that he considered stepping down, or at least that's implied. They considered stepping down, or did a lot of soul searching during some of the early missteps of administration, which is pretty interesting, but hardly the kind of revelation along the line is going to drive book sales. And maybe there's nothing in there like that. That's fine, but at this stage of the marketing of a book, that's what you expect to see.
If he's at a book signing and you're in the area, do you take a cell phone picture of him?
Without question.
Speaking of guys you would definitely take a picture of, Charlie Sheen in town tonight. Beantown becomes Sheentown tonight, gentlemen. If the reviews of this show that Charlie's been touring with are even close to being accurate, there's a lot of people that are going to get fleeced tonight over at the Agganis Arena. With that being said...
And it serves them right.
It serves them right, indeed. With that being said, what's the worst show you guys ever saw and paid money to see?
I got to say, it's probably a toss-up between two very different things. A little comic show by Emo Phillips at Holy Cross many years ago. I got pulled
Why
up.
do you not like that show, Cosmo?
I got pulled up on stage during that fiasco, and
you didn't take a cell phone picture of Emo, did you?
No, I didn't. I tried to forget it. And then probably Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah.
I tried hard to stay awake, to make it through the thing, and not to be like, this is awful. But all three of those conditions were met. I didn't stay awake. We get out of there by the third act, and boy, was it awful.
Remember the Woody Allen movie where he makes the girl go to the hockey game, but then he has to go to the opera? And he leaves after the first number, and he says, if I hear any more Wagner, I'm going to conquer Poland. I can't take it. I'm sorry. I thought you'd like that reference, Peter. What's the worst show you ever saw?
Well, you threw a caveat in there. You said that I paid for.
Oh, you can go non-paid.
Well, geez, I hate to say it, but Cats. I mean, the costumes were great, the music was wonderful, but when I left it, I said, what was that all about? Maybe not the worst, but certainly the most mystifying.
The hitter's getting a little more street cred. The Phantom of the Opera and Cats suck. Good endorsements, boys. We'll take a time.